Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. In connection to the numerous complaints and cases of rights implicating the police in connection to the national identity card, compel police authorities to ban top authorities to ban officers from asking the documents of citizens for several years now. In Cameroon, the issuance of the identification documents have suffered several setbacks. And away from that, train driving, a traditionally male-dominated career, has transformed significantly over the years. Attitudes have mellowed greatly, and women are now getting interested in the profession. On today's edition of the news, we'll place a spotlight on a 23-year-old girl called Gladys Nyanjok, who was making great strides as far as train driving is concerned. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. You made the right choice. Tomorrow, women in Cameroon will join their peers to commemorate the International Women's Day. In prelude to the D-Day, we took interest in a 23-year-old lady who is an engine driver. Our reporter Annabella met with her at the Camral station in Besenge here in Douala. Let's discover how it feels like when it means for a woman to drive a train. She is a profession most often dominated by men. She is an evidence that women can dare in whatever domain and excel. 23-year-old Gladys Nyanjok is an engine driver or a locomotive conductor. She drives the train from one destination to another.
Après avoir suivi une bonne formation, j'ai fait le premier train et c'est à partir de là que la passion a commencé à naître, la passion de conduire les trains.
Though for now she is an assistant at the rail station in Douala, she must be more vigilant and plays almost the same role as the main conductor. When she has to take to the rail, she begins work each day at 4 a.m.
Je suis censée venir prendre le service à 4 heures. Après avoir pris un bon et long repos, je ne dois pas consommer les substances psychoactives ou bien faire des travaux qui vont trop m'épuiser.
And when we met with Gladys Nyanjok at her duty post, she was getting the train ready for takeoff.
Lorsque mon conducteur est défaillant et que j'arrête le train, je dois m'assurer de l'immobiliser et la cale anti-dérive me permet d'immobiliser le train.
Checking to ensure that every technical aspect is intact, she later then gives the signal to the main conductor to kickstart the train. Working with Gladys is fun.
Des fois, les gens ne nous voient pas capables de faire ce métier. Mais nous devons nous surpasser en tant que femmes dans ce métier.
Frank is her closest collaborator and the main conductor. We have been traveling with Gladys at the command of the engine for over a year now.
A priori, on pourrait croire que le métier devient difficile lorsqu'on est assisté par une femme. C'est pas le cas.
The 23-year-old Gladys Nyanjok encourages every young lady not to be afraid to dare, especially in such a domain.
At age 23, Gladys Nyanjok is an engine driver. Yes, she drives a train. She was able to accomplish all this because she had a dream. You too have a dream, so don't give up on yourselves. Believe in your potentials and get to work. What a man can do, a woman can do that, even better. At the rail station in Douala, Zephyrin Gonti, Annabella for Equinoxe Television.
Thank you so much, Annabella, for that magnificent report. Away from that, the Tomaino family in Makepe Misoke and the Douala 5 subdivision are calling on municipal authorities to come to their aid. They say the area now stings as a result of feces found on their streets. This is due to the poor connection of a septic tank pipes behind their house by their neighbor. Asia Lucy Liengo visited the neighborhood and she now explains to us how the population are coping with the situation.
Stinking water from a septic tank mixed with feces. It is on this environment that the Ntiomanu family have been living for over a year.
Je vis là-dedans avec l'eau de caca parce qu'il n'est pas assez de moyens pour aller prendre une maison ailleurs pour louer.
This results from a poor installation of the septic tank pipes by their neighbor.
Il a canalisé tous les eaux usées.
He connected pipes behind my house, destroying my walls. The dirty water infiltrates through the blocks to my children's room and the parlor.
La chambre des enfants a se verse au salon.
The people are now exposed to various environmental diseases.
Parce que la santé des enfants ça ne va pas.
Each month, I spend at least 50,000 francs for my children's health and eye.
Moi-même particulièrement, ça ne va pas avec moi.
Every attempt to get in touch with the owner to remedy the situation went in vain. They have also complained to the quarter head about the problem, yet no solution. We have done everything in our reach to resolve this issue in vain. Another resident says they are also affected as their walls are broken.
Nous avons peur que cela détruise la maison, ça peut même causer même des dégâts matériels, même la mort.
Faced with this persistent situation, the last hope is the Douala 5 municipal authorities.
We stay right here in the city of Douala, where dozens of car keys have been seized from suspected car thief apprehended by elements of the anti-crime unit at the Mobile Intervention Police Unit Jouées 2, and he was arrested in the village neighborhood alongside a car he stole at a garage on February 28. Innocent Aze reports.
These are keys allegedly used by the suspects to force start vehicles parked by their owners. Whichever starts the car, your vehicle is gone. He has been doing this for a long period now, stealing of vehicles not well parked and at insecure places. He uses Toyota keys to start Toyota vehicles and force keys to start cars of different marks. The suspected car thief fell in the darkness of the anti-crime units of the Mobile Intervention Police, GMI number 2, following a complaint deposited by a mechanic about a stolen Toyota vehicle at his garage in the village neighborhood on February 28. While at the garage working, owner of this vehicle came for me to fix a mechanical problem. Unfortunately, I could not finish. I decided to finish the work the next day. Upon my arrival, I couldn't find the car. Commander Awa Christian mobilized his elements, who, following investigations, nabbed the suspect.
Et chance pour nous, nous avons eu le renseignement que ce véhicule a été garé dans un quartier ici à Douala.
While on the scene for a reconstitution, the suspect demonstrated how he dribbled the vigilance of the vigilantes and the security guards who fell asleep to get into the garage. With help of these keys, he was able to open the driver's door, start the vehicle and drive off.
Le gardien était en plein sommeil, ce qui a permis au suspect de partir avec la voiture sans difficulté. Il a juste démarré la voiture avec une fausse clé et il est parti.
The suspect was transferred to the judicial police for further interrogation and presentation before the magistrate to answer to his alleged crime.
And now to our major lead story. A police officer no longer has the right to withdraw your national identity card even if expired, according to the order from the Cameroon police boss Martin Bangagile. The police boss, in a note to his top collaborators, say the decision is motivated by numerous complaints and cases of right abuses. The decision, however, is not being welcomed by a lot of Cameroonians. Femi Armstrong Sanda tells us more.
61-year-old Papa Lokan Albert is one of the many Cameroonians with pathetic experiences in their quest to get a Cameroonian national identity card. He has visited the police station several times for the permanent national identity card which he established in 2021, but all he gets is a police stamp extending the validity of his temporary national identity card. Like him, this other Cameroonian says the validity of his temporary identity card has had to be extended more than 10 times. Without a valid national identity card, they are faced with a lot of challenges, faced with police harassment and the accepted inability of public stakeholders to provide permanent valid national identity cards. The Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bangagile, asked security officials to henceforth not restrict movement and activities of Cameroonians holding the temporary identity card even if expired. Among Cameroonians, this decision is appreciated, though not by everybody. Some Cameroonians question why the temporary identity card is not given the status of permanent national identity card, considering the government's inability to provide the latter, Moreover, Cameroonians are faced with other problems that are only resolved with a permanent national identity card. This is the case with bank transactions and the identification of mobile SIM cards, among others. Cameroonians have been unanimous that a solution to the problem of national identity card production in Cameroon is far-fetched. Memories are still fresh of the assurances given to this effect by the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bargangele, in Douala in 2023, while inaugurating the Douala Center for the Production of Identification Documents.
And on to something else, private school promoters urged a reduction of the tax burden imposed on them by the tax administration. This and other issues were discussed with some government representatives during their General Assembly in Douala. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
Private school owners in Cameroon raised concerns about challenges affecting the sector, challenges hampering the proper functioning of their respective establishments.
The challenges that the proprietors are having, as in tax and CNPS. When it comes to hitting hard on the proprietors, like with penalties, they do not make any effort in trying to understand the situations the proprietors are actually facing.
The issues were on the table of discussion in this come-together of private school proprietors in Douala. They discussed the solutions with some tax and National Social Insurance Fund officials. The educationists and teachers' trade union leaders were edified on the functioning of the tax administration, the importance of registering employees in the Social Insurance Fund, and the role of the trade union.
The representative of the CNPS, he actually explained that this basically is written, is the law, and it's very little they can do about that part. You know, that they follow the penalties are executed as per the law. And he also encouraged everyone that it's very good to get all your employees registered, because most of the times it's these employees who always come back to them and report that they have been working here without being registered at the same pace.
How can the syndicate come out, develop itself, and defend the interests of its member? And that's why we are here to advise them that your role is to defend the interests of promoters of lay private education.
Meantime, the private school proprietors are pressing for solutions to their plight and galvanizing efforts for the proper functioning of their schools.
And out of our national frontiers in Senegal, the Constitutional Council has disavowed the proposals resulting from the national dialogue relating to the resumption of the electoral process. The candidate Amadou Ba seats the chair of Prime Minister to Sidiki Kaba, and the first round of the presidential elections is set for March 24th. We have details with Cedric Chaputio.
Senegal earlier on Wednesday announced that a delayed presidential election will be held on March 24th after a top court ruled that a proposal to hold a vote after April 2nd was unconstitutional. Originally scheduled for February 25th, President Macky Sall called off the exercise, citing electoral disputes. He was immediately accused by the opposition of seeking to carry out a coup. His proposal to hold the election in December was the subject of deadly protest, which rocked Senegal's reputation as West Africa's most stable democracy. Furthermore, a proposal from a National Dialogue Commission for the votes to be held on June 2nd was rejected by the Constitutional Court. Also on Wednesday, President Macky Sall dissolved the government and replaced Prime Minister Amadou Ba by Minister Sidiki Kaba. Elsewhere, in an undated letter that circulated on media since Monday, Rwanda's Foreign Minister Vincent Biruta allegedly said to the chairperson of the African Union that Rwanda learned with great concern about a scheduled meeting of the African Union Peace and Security Council. Minister Vincent Biruta reportedly accuses the regional force of fighting alongside the Democratic Republic of Congo army and a coalition of armed groups which includes Rwandan rebels of the Democratic Forces for the liberation of Rwanda. In mid-February, Rwanda's top diplomat expressed concern at what he called the abandonment of political initiatives by the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, namely the Luanda and Nairobi processes.
Over to sports. Ahead of the clash between Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua on Friday, Francis Ngannou says his past fight against Tyson Fury made his history and he intends causing an upset at the Kingdom Arena, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, when it's midnight Cameroonian time. This will be Francis Ngannou's second ever boxing bout in his career. We have details with Smart Chikan Gabriel.
After losing via a split decision in his debut pro boxing confrontation against WBC world champion Tyson Fury in a non-title bout in which Francis Ngannou almost delivered an upset when he dropped Fury to the canvas, Francis Ngannou says he feels confident enough ahead of his confrontation against Anthony Joshua this weekend.
I'm just a beginner out here that's going to train really hard and do everything and come as an underdog to win the fight. I don't take my last fight as a reference.
Francis Ngannou has 17-3 mixed martial arts record with 12 wins by knockout and will once again be the underdog when he takes on two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. Ahead of the clash between Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua, the Cameroonian has promised not to leave any stone unturned and any opportunity unexplored.
There's something more on the line, which is probably the undisputed. Let's see. Maybe I will do something that nobody has done before.
The opponent of Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, is a former unified WBO, WBA, and IBF heavyweight champion. His fight against Francis Ngannou comes on the heels of 3 successive wins. Before that, Anthony Joshua had lost back-to-back against Alexander Usyk. A defeat for the 34-year-old Joshua this Friday might have a negative turnaround in his boxing career.
Right now, I'm not thinking about any championship belts or anything. My main focus is Francis, to be fair, getting through intense, focused training camp, because realistically, how I train is how I fight.
A win for Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou will enable him to fight against Tyson Fury should he beat Alexander Usyk in their rearranged bout come May 18, 2024. The heavyweight boxing fight will have 10 rounds.
And that's it for the first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, I'll be receiving CV Jacqueline Domo. She is the president of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. Good evening, CV Jacqueline Domo. It is a pleasure to have you on this news tonight.
Greetings, Immaculate. It's my pleasure to be invited here. Thank you so much. And greetings to all Equinoxe televiewers.
Yesterday, the divisional officer for Lokonje, locality in Kribi, that is in the southwest region, was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment and a fine was equally charged. Do you think the sentence is worth it?
Yes, I want to say that it's a good decision. It's a good decision. I know that people might ask, is 10 years enough? But it's a good decision considering the fact that for so long we have been having cases like this and nothing has been done. So in this specific case, is somebody working in the administration that is being held accountable, and being sentenced to 10 years imprisonment is a very, very good decision that we can salute. Salute because it's going to send a very strong message to other people doing the same thing, so that at least they will be careful in doing such acts. And also is also going to give the courage to other women having the same situation to denounce and be heard. So what I like in this decision is that it's pushing away the idea that impunity is what is on the stage. For now, women and all the stakeholders do know that they can have the opportunity of bringing their cases to court and being heard.
Now, cases of femicide have become very rampant in our society today. Many women now die in silence in their matrimonial homes. What accounts for this rise?
Yeah, there are many reasons for that. The first is that there are many cases and then women don't have the courage to denounce. And secondly, others are fearing reprisals because the they can denounce, and then at the end of the day, they have other reprisals, either from family members or from the same husband. We know that many women have been killed simply because they were able to bring to the attention the violence that they are having in their homes. And also, that's where the education of our children is very, very important, because when you grow in a violent home, you have the tendency of duplicating what you saw in your house. So it's very important for us as parents to make sure that we make our children grow in a non-violent environment, because when they see violence happening, they think that's the right way to go, and at the end of the day, they keep on doing the same thing. So, and I can also mention another reason having to do with impunity, because for so long we had many cases of feminicide in Cameroon long time ago, but you could see all those who were perpetrators still going around, without any sanction. So this could give the impression that you can just do and go away with it. But now I think it's going to reduce in a bit, because you can see many people coming and speaking out when cases are happening. So it's giving us a hope that I do hope that the cases are going to reduce. But education is extremely important, not only for our young boys, but also for our young girls, who also should be taught that this is the limit they should accept. The husband is a mate, is a friend, not a bureau, and not somebody we can totally rely on until you put our life at risk.
You just mentioned about having hope. At a time when teenagers have now become targets of sexual predators. Recently, we heard on the news yesterday that a 6-year-old girl was raped to death in Baganti in the West region. What do you think about the safety of women and girls in Cameroon today?
No, before I talk about the safety of women, I want to say that this is a very sad situation. And then I'm asking myself, what can we explain, or what is the justification for a 6-year-old to be victim of such act? There's no reason for that. So the reasons are sometimes beyond our understanding. The person who does that, knows exactly the reason behind committing such acts. And I can think that the quest for money at all costs is one of the reasons. People want to have money at all costs, and then they get engaged in horrible things, and then they are asked to do some sacrifices. And also the security of women is also about, as I mentioned earlier, is also about their education. It's about educating the girl child. It's about educating the society. What is the view the society has about women, or the girl, or the family at large? So when the image is that women can be used as objects, when she's married, she becomes a property of her husband, then there is a conception. Boys grow up thinking that they can just play with women as they are playing with toys. So for me, I see the background is education, and also trying to challenge the patriarchal system, because it's the patriarchal system that is perpetuating this type of things with a lot of prejudices and also stereotype around the role of women and boys and men.
Now, the prime responsibility of the protection of citizens, including women.
Society, we are responsible for our care and the well-being of our neighbors, families, and so on. But now, regarding the ministry, I can say a lot is being done from the ministry side. I've been with the ministry in many activities, and one of the things that I appreciate is, for example, recently there was the launch of a process of getting a law in Cameroon to fight gender-based violence. For me, this is a key milestone. But generally, looking at the context, I think the ministry still need to put a lot of energy in terms of mobilizing the actors, in terms of mobilizing the fund, in terms of doing the work, because they have the prime responsibility. While others are supporting them, they really need to take the lead, and we need to see them on the ground. Like many cases have happened, and the ministry have never taken the floor to speak first. So we think that the actions from the civil society, from other stakeholders, are there to support the ministry's actions. So they need to be harder in the work to stop all this heavily.
But then we have noticed that many women are silent in the midst of challenges faced by other women. In your opinion, why are women silent when they see their other women equally suffering? Why don't they speak out?
I want to be very positive to say that the things are changing. Yeah, it's true that was the case in the past, but recently you have seen that there are many cases where women have been either battered or killed, and many women stood up. But for others, it's about maybe lack of information, also fear of reprisal. You have even watched on TV many times where you see people, a person, it can be a woman or a man, being battered, especially in couples. And the neighbors are there to say that, no, this is the couple, their issue as a couple. I cannot interfere. So it's also about, for me, I can think there's also ignorance to know that we have the responsibility to be our each other's keeper. So and also the patriarchal system in which we are. Many women, number one, cannot speak for themselves, and do you think they can speak for the neighbors? So it's about the culture. We as civil society and other media and other actors, I think it's just a call for us for greater actions in terms of sensitizing women and the public in general to speak out when some cases happen, because when many people come on board, then decisions are taken. And we have seen about the Bogda case, you have seen about the case of this subdivisional officer and so on. So it's a call for us to do greater sensitization, to bring women to not only to denounce for themselves, but also for other cases happening in the communities.
We are left with just some few minutes. Let's take this last question. Let me read out a section of a statement signed by 41 women and other civil society organizations. They say, we declare this month of March 2024 to be a month of protest for all Cameroonian women. We declare this 8th of March 2024 to be a Women's Day in Black. What's your take on this?
No, for me personally, I won't say that this month of March. There are many things happening in Cameroon that are making me to think that we should be protesting all the time. Yeah, let's look at the war, the crisis in the North and Southwest. Let's look at what is happening in the Far North. Let's look at the high cost of living. Well, how do we expect? How many people are able to eat well in their house? How many people are able to send their children to school? How many people are able to have good care when they are ill? So for many reasons, for all these reasons, people are not happy. I don't want to pretend. We are not happy. Cameroonians are dying in silence. And then I'm so scared of latent conflict, because this is a latent conflict. We have the impression that people are not speaking out, but people are boiling inside. And this boiling inside is something extremely dangerous, because at the end of the day, and one day we might find ourselves in a situation that we cannot stop people just doing what we don't want to see them do. So I think that the protest is just normal. What we have reached, the level we have reached in Cameroon is unbearable. We cannot eat. We don't have internet. We don't have electricity. We don't have water. How can you be proud of? So if people are protesting, then they have a reason to do that. But I want to say that this protest is not to say that women or people stand against the government. We just want things to change in a positive way.
Thank you so much, Civil Jacqueline Domo, for being part of Talking Point tonight. And that's what will put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Have a wonderful evening in the company of more interesting programs on ETV.